you've managed to stay creative and busy during this period, like a lot of people haven't been able to. And just talk about being able to do that and to put out good music and to keep honing your craft. And because the stuff I've seen has just been amazing recently. And how have you been able to channel that into your art?
Thank you. Well, it's been hard like during quarantine, but I'm just happy I had so many songs that I wrote like over the past few years. Because honestly, like quarantine haven't been like my most creative year. I just have to like work with whatever I have, you know, doing Zoom sessions, which obviously isn't my favorite, and like trying to connect with people just like without being in the same room as them. So I'm just happy I had so many like ideas from like years and years ago that I already like, you know, I already had like a vision and I could just finish everything and do like all the creative around that. So
Especially someone like you that's been, you know, all over the world and, you know, and had that experience. Has it been harder then to be isolated, or easier since you've had that experience and you've been around? Is it easier than to kind of cocoon for a year, knowing that you've been out there and you can kind of take it easy for a bit?
I mean, I think it was just the uncertainty of everything was still very hard, you know, and not being like, because I didn't know, because I have all my family is in Sweden.
Yeah.
So for me, it was hard, like not knowing when I could see them again. And like my mom is in a risk group, so I didn't know, like I didn't like see her for probably like 8 months. So I think it was just like it's been a weird time.
Yeah. Things are looking better and
yeah, looking better. Yeah, I'm not gonna get too dark because it's actually looking better.
Yeah, it is. And your music has been a big part of it. I'm sure it's been helping other people. Talk about Nobody Loves Me. This song plays into that. There's a lot of personal stuff I know, but it also a lot of things people can relate to, I think, during this time, as I'm sure you're aware. Just talk about the what's behind that song, where that song came from in you.
Yeah, I think especially like Nobody Loves Me, I wrote when I came back to Sweden after being in quarantine in LA for like months and months. And it's just talking about how it feels to be like on the bottom and just being overwhelmed with anxiety and feeling like the loneliest person on the planet. And I think that this is just something that a lot of people can relate to in general, and like especially after a year like this. So I just felt like it was important to put it out there as a reminder that, you know, that you deserve to be loved and like everything's gonna be okay again. Because I think like also just like small things that you can do when you're like depressed or when you're having a lot of anxiety. I think it's just like small things like just cleaning your house or just, you know, taking a walk or calling a friend. It's like the small things that keeps us alive and just connecting with people. And, you know, yeah, so that's a really important thing to remember.
And how therapeutic was it for you to record this, to put this out there?
Yeah, it was very therapeutic because I think like I can relate to it. You know, I've been on the rock bottom a lot of times, and I had a lot of panic attacks and anxiety, and like in my past, and I still have it. But it's like a part of me that I have to like kind of just learn how to, you know, live with. Like, you know, it's not just gonna disappear.
Sure. And you're not alone in that. I'm sure a lot of people have reached out to you that either know your story or know this song now. And what's that like, having people say this song has gotten me through this time? Or you probably had that with other music as well as an artist. What does that mean to you?
It means everything. To just, you know, being able to like share a piece of yourself with other people and like knowing like how much it could help them, because I know how much music, like from, you know, when I listen to music or when I like Patti Smith, when I read her book, Just Kids, I don't know if you read it, And I know just how much that one just got me through a really rough time. And so I know how much music means to me and how much art means to me. So I'm just so happy that I can give that to somebody else.
When did you know music and art meant so much to you? At what age? How young were you when you knew you had this talent, you had this love?
I always loved, I always loved music since I was a kid. It's just my grandma was a singer. Like she was accepted to the Royal Opera in Stockholm, but she didn't have any money, so she couldn't proceed her dreams. So I think it was like always present in my childhood. She would always sing to me and play like folk songs in Swedish and stuff like that. So yeah, music has always meant everything to me, and just being able to like write and poems and stories and stuff like that. I'm a very like sensitive person, so it's a way of, you know, dealing with your emotions.
Mm-hmm. And your story and your upbringing seems so amazing from someone who's grown up here in LA to hear coming from Sweden and being a horse acrobat and what that means. Just that's something so fantastic to me. And then and how you discovered music, and just talk about the life you lived and how unique and special that seems to you at this point in your life, looking back.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's funny when people say that I was a horse acrobat, because what I did was I I did vaulting, which is kind of like horse acrobat, but it's vaulting. So it's like, yeah, I grew up with a lot of animals, and we had 5 horses, we had cats, we had animals in like every corner. So many animals. And my sister, she would like rescue birds and stuff. So we had like, it was like, you know, fairy tale. And it's like obviously a very different lifestyle than being in LA and like being in big cities in general, because I grew up on an island, like deep in the forest. So it's like, it's different, but it's also like, I think it's just, I appreciate whenever I go back, I appreciate it like so much more than like when I was a teenager. Because when I was a teenager, I just wanted to like get out of like the small town, you know. Sure. And now when I go back, I think it's just more beautiful than ever. And it's just, I think also for me, it's so important to be like out in the nature every once in a while, and just to reset. So, and that definitely, I think it has a lot to do with like my childhood, and you know.
And talk about bringing that warmth and that beauty to your music, because I think some of my favorite music has been music that's possibly been electronic and been dancey or somewhat cold, but then to have these warm vocals and warm lyrics and so much emotion, just kind of that dichotomy makes for a beautiful song. I
think it's actually, I've been thinking about, because there's so many amazing Swedish like writers, like we have Max Martin, we have Robin Tolo, like so many amazing people. And I was just thinking like if there's something that, you know, half the year is completely darkness, it's like 6 months of no sunlight basically.
Yeah.
And I think kind of what you just do, it's like there's like really not much to do. You just gotta, you know, you can just go underground and write music and just create your own world, just create your own little sunlight, and like you can go wherever you want, like in your heads. I think you just have to create like a fantasy world in order to survive. So that I think that can also be part of the, you know, the magic that happens, because you just have to do it. Mm-hmm. It's actually, it's like I feel like here I can get a little lazier when I write, because I just want to be out in the sunlight. Yeah. And then people remind me, they're like, you live in the sun, like it's sun every day. But as a Swede, I'm like, it's like I'm drawn to the sunlight. I just want to be out in the sunlight, even though it's sunlight every day.
You're conditioned, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to be out there.
Right. Talk about the EP and this because it's still fairly recent, obviously, and this music that as people have been discovering it, what that means to you, and kind of the songs on that, and what that says about where you are now.
Yeah, I mean the She EP. I can't believe I released 2 EPs last year. It's wow, during the worst year.
Yeah.
And no, but I just it's a mix of like different songs. I mean, like She is obviously one of the most like the harder, and like it was written for a movie, and it did almost make it into a movie. So but it's just like a lot of different stories and songs, and like a little book with different chapters. So we have like She was more like mad, and she's just tired of how this world is, and she would do anything to change it. And then we have like Piano in the Sky, who is more sad and melancholic, and like based on a dream. And there's Delight, who's just talking about depression. It's just like all these different little stories. And yeah, I'm just happy that people listen to them and like find some comfort in the songs during this weird times.
I love hearing the birds behind you. I'm picturing a little bird in a cage next to you. Are those birds outside your window?
Yeah, like hummingbirds.
That's fabulous. It's very, very apropos to everything we've been talking about. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.